Gentleman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague from Missouri, Representative Luetkemeyer, for offering this important piece of legislation under consideration today. The Bipartisan Systemic Risk Designation Improvement Act replaces an arbitrary asset threshold with indicator-based approach that will better assist the Financial Stability Oversight Council in determining the true systemic risk of a financial institution. It is a mistake for regulators to continue regulating a $50 billion bank in the same way they regulate a $1 trillion globally systemic important institutions. In fact, this view is shared among regulators and legislators. Comptroller Curry, Federal Reserve Board member Tarullo, Senator Brown, and even former Chairman Barney Frank have all made public comments agreeing that the $50 billion SIFI threshold is not the best determination for imposing heightened prudential standards. This bill introduces a better analyst-driven approach, requiring the Council to consider metrics already established by the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision when it identifies globally systemically important banks. The Systemic Risk Designation Improvement Act will stop the current regulatory model of needlessly increasing compliance costs and forcing institutions to decrease financial services. By ensuring that the SIFI designation process takes into account indicator factors, financial institutions that were not the cause of the financial crisis will once again be able to fully serve their communities. Not only will this legislation provide relief for stable financial institutions, but it will also allow regulators to focus their resources, working with institutions to pose an actual systemic risk to the financial system. It is important to note that this legislation does not strip the FSOC of designation powers. It is concerning that some groups oppose a bill that encourages the Council to use accepted measures of standards to justify a SIFI designation. Systemic importance should be determined by appropriate criteria rather than by arbitrary lines and have no justifiable purpose. To advocate for the status quo and then against this legislation shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the financial system and systemic risk. I'm happy to lend my support to this bill and encourage my colleagues to support this common sense measure. And again, thank the gentleman from Missouri for his leadership on this.